Wait, not sure if I want to be whistling that. They might mute my audio. I mean, that's technically copyrighted music. See, is it just if you're using the melody of it, or I don't know. I want to go on an entire rant about music copyrights at the moment, though. Ah. Oh, Steam messages. Um, is my audio and video working at all? Like, and all? Is it all good? I'm quiet. Okay. Yes. Fortunately, fortunately, I think I can fix that. Yes. Okay. Oh, wow. That's too much. How's that? Um, is this good? Is this too loud? Or is this fine? Hello, I'm talking. I'm testing. I don't know why people count, but okay. Testing one, two, three. Uno, dos, tres. Ein, zwei, drei. Un, deux, trois. Ichi, ni, san. Uh, S of zero, S of zero, S of zero. I'm fine. Okay. Mike setup is checking out in English, Spanish, German, French, and piano arithmetic. I think we're good. Let's see. Oh, and Japanese. Yeah. Hmm. No, speaking of which, I actually had to find a way to put Japanese characters into the game text. um, it's not universal. It's just a couple phrases. So, basically what you have to do is you make a bitmap of the Japanese text, and then you put it in as a bitmap in the middle of the text. Such a roundabout way of doing it, but of course, Torque has to use ANSI encoding. Um, what language is that again? MF Ponzal is giving me some other language. Um, According to the sources I'm looking at, it's the word for two is actually spelled with two T's.
Edge.
U. So it would be egg, ketu, harom. Okay, how did I do there? I totally don't know Hungarian. Um, all the weird vowels are weird, and there's one of those interesting, fun, palatal consonants in there. How how did this? Eh, you know, how did this go from MBPU streaming to discussion on linguistics. I mean, technically the stream hasn't started yet. This is like the pre-stream. The pre-stream, that sounds like a... I don't know, that sounds like some, like, inappropriate. No, never mind. I will be watching the chat, so just as a friendly reminder, you don't need to message me on Steam if you want me to see it. You can do it in the chat. And if you are messaging me on Steam, it makes an annoying little noise that everybody gets to hear. And the best part about that is that if you like, the only reason I could see then why you'd want to do it is to be secretive about it. You know, like if you have to say something, but like you don't want other people to know, then you'd just be like really secretive there. But but the thing is, like, everybody can hear the little noise anyway, and so they'll all be wondering, "Ooh, what did you say that was so secretive?" Um, we may be actually, I'm going to go against what I just said, and I'm going to message MF Phones all on Steam. um, okay, so according to the according to Twitch, we have 6 people right now. Not all of them user named, obviously. So yeah, fun stuff. Um, so just to give you a little heads up on the kind of stuff that's going to be in this video, I'm going to show you guys some of the new features of MBPU 1.5. I am also going to be at the end, I will allow you to ask questions, or really you can ask questions throughout as well. And yeah, um, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Sweet, thanks, Emma All. You're a cool guy, and that's good. Let's see. Okay. If I seem a little bit out of it at the moment, that's because I just realized that I was going to change up a couple of things before starting the stream, and I've completely I've completely forgotten to do that until just now. So yeah, wonderful. Ah, Half-Life reference. Yeah, make references to Half-Life 2 because that's like the one game where I've played the sequel, but I haven't played the first one, which is really unfortunate because, well, that's not true actually. That's not true because I've never actually played the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I've played 3 and 4. I played 2 once, but yeah. Let's see. I was actually playing THPS4 on an emulator just yesterday. Where is the... Just to give you guys, if, you know, if you watch this a bit later, just to give you all a bit of a heads up on what's going on right now. Um, Currently, Marble Blast UL is making Half-Life references that I don't get. MF Ponzal is going on about his fanny pack. And we're having a good time. And I selected open instead of open as layers. Rookie mistake. Okay, so now I'm getting messaged on Skype. Oh, it's MF Ponzal reminding everybody to join the stream. And hey, I noticed at one point we had 6 viewers, then that went down to 5. Guys, I don't bite, and I realized that the stream hasn't quite started yet, so but yeah. Also, uh, coming soon, I should point out, will be a YouTube channel on which I will be talking about games, playing games, maybe talking about making games, and you get the idea. And this is maybe a joke in poor taste, but I hope you can hear the letter M. Now then, you know what I like, MF Ponzal? I like trains. Bonus points to anybody who gets that reference. Oh, gosh. Excuse me while it takes, like, forever to clone the entire MBPU directory from Dropbox to my desktop. Yeah, you know, I was like I was originally going to do Half-Life 2 as a blind Let's Play. But I decided like barely into it that nah, it was too much effort. But but I will um possibly I will consider doing a Let's Play of the episodes. It really depends on how busy my schedule is this coming year, because I've had some time in the past to... Oh, we have a question about MBPU not being able to find the MBG install directory. There are a couple of potential problems with that, and I've had to answer this question multiple times for different people. One thing that might be an issue is make sure you're following closely the instructions it gives you. In particular, you need to end the path with a backslash, backslash being under the backspace key. Um, Apart from that, if you are doing that, I did a really stupid thing when I created the installer. To know if you're playing a legitimate Marble Blast game, I had it check for the DirectX getdxver.exe. So I'll type into the chat window. That's the name of the file that you need. Um, and Twitch thinks it's a website. Don't go to getdxver.exe. I don't know. It could be like a Where's website, and then I would be like bad for recommending it to you. It could suddenly be porn, and maybe you're only like 12. So don't look at porn, kids. You'll get enough if you ever like find the right person, and then it's interactive porn. What am I even saying? I'm terrible about this. Note to self: if you ever have children, their mother is giving them the sex talk. So, meanwhile, uh, meanwhile, so if you don't have getdxver.exe in your MBPU, or not MBPU, in your MBG root directory, the installer will refuse to install. And the inconvenience of that is the download you get from marbleblast.com doesn't have the exe file in it. Now, the funny thing is, it doesn't matter what's in the exe file. It can be any file. There just has to be some file called getdxver.exe. So what I would recommend you do, and this sounds totally silly, and I'm sorry you have to do this, if you're trying to install MBPU 0.4 or 1.0, and saying your directory is invalid and you don't have the exe, just copy your Marble Blast exe and rename it getdxver.exe, and then it should load properly. But yeah. Uh, Also, let's see here. Another thing. If you're still having problems, another thing. If you're installing MBPU 0.4 or 1.0 and the game doesn't start at all, like it opens but then immediately quits, check your console.log for something about your ignition file. If you're using an ignition build of the game, then it needs your ignition file to be able to work properly, but by the way, I'll start streaming the game in a couple minutes. You guys excited? Anyway, so if so it needs your ignition file to be in the Marble directory, whereas you probably have it in just the root directory. That's fine. Keep it in the root directory. Copy it into Marble. MBPU 1.5 will no longer require that because the anti-hack system will be completely removed. This doesn't mean that this doesn't give you an excuse to pirate the game. Obviously, the anti-piracy that's already in the game is still there. And of course, you can just download MBG from the Marble Blast website at this point. So, you know, while I'm not quite sure how condonable that idea is on their part, you can hear the clicks from me navigating through folders, can't you? That's exciting. That means I'm doing something. Yeah, get ready. No, I don't want to update Notepad++. You asked at the worst time. One quick minute. Um, oh, Yuo brings up a good point. He's currently in the middle of working on a level, and Yuo, what I'll do is let me know in the chat if you have fixed it, and I will copy the files over on the fly. So apparently T-Porter got it to install. Another thing I should probably mention as a bit of a disclaimer. By participating in the chat, you agree to allow me the right to mention your Twitch username, meaning that if you don't want the publicity of me, saying your username if you say something in the chat, well then too bad, because everybody around the world is going to be able to watch me say your name for until Twitch removes the past broadcast, which is unfortunate that they're doing that. But really, I don't know if there's much I can do or much I want to do. I should at the very least try to download the videos from it, just to, save them for posterity. But anyway. So, it is currently 3:02 by my clock, meaning I'm actually, MF Ponzal, they sent me an email message a little while ago informing me that they are discontinuing their practice of keeping broadcasts forever, and starting at the end of the month, they're going to only keep them for a while. So, yeah. Make sure you save that stuff to a giant hard drive or something. Well, you will, if you want to keep working on the level, you can go ahead and just let me know when, give me updates. Okay, so, anyway, it's 3:03 by my clock, meaning that this is definitely overdue. And so, let's start streaming. Ooh, black screen, it's mysterious. And we're in! Okay, let me just wait a few seconds for it to update on the website so I can make sure, absolutely sure, that all of the game content is getting across to you guys. It appears to be. I'm not seeing dropped frames. I'm seeing 30 FPS, we're golden. You will sucks at gem placement. Just kidding. So, first of all, I'm going to... Well, I won't turn up the music volume for you guys. Yeah, let me know. Are things too loud, too soft, just right? Let me know if there are issues there. So anyway, let's go play some levels. So the first thing you'll notice that's different, also hacks. The first thing you'll notice that's different is the fact that there's this button here. As far as what this button does, okay, in-game volume needs to be turned down. Okay. Anyway, so the first thing to notice is that, well, actually the first thing you might notice is that the version number is missing, and the fun thing about that feature is I have no idea why. But hopefully, did I even change that? Anyway, oh yes, you are supposed to install it over like a full copy of MBG. So make sure you do that. So anyway, if we go to the options window, there's this miscellaneous tab. Now, that was there in the previous version, and it allowed you to use MBPU with an Xbox controller. It enabled you to disable power-up effects, and also to the sneaky camera, to use the sneaky camera option. So there's been one more option added as of right now, and that is vibration support. And this is a really cool feature that I realized would be possible, and it was actually a suggestion from Yule, I believe, so thanks for the idea. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it, but if I hold my controller near the microphone as I enable vibration, it doesn't appear to have worked. Wonderful! Well, MBPU is nothing if not glitched. So, let me actually restart MBPU just to see if there is any particular reason why that wasn't working. Perhaps because I didn't have it enabled at first. Strange, it seems to be resetting my preferences or something. That's weird. It still has my weird controls, though. But, regardless, I will figure out why that isn't working, and you will be able to play with the knowledge that vibration support will be working, and it'll be awesome. Probably has something to do with the fact that I moved the directory. I'll need to investigate that. Ooh, it's file permissions, I bet. Regardless, let's get on to unplugging my controller, and let's get on to the heck? Let's get on to the actual features. Not in the options menu. Here we have what is called challenges. Now, challenges are nothing like challenges in MBP. I believe I first had the idea for this sort of thing, not necessarily as an in-game feature, but just as challenges, just, you know. Hi Guy and I have been talking about these things for quite some time now, and how it works is, okay, so here's Grand Finale, and Grand Finale is, of course, Grand Finale as you know it. There's a power-up doubler that was added in 0.2, I want to say. Oh, that's been there for a while. You know, but everything's normal, you get the idea. But now, you can play a challenge, and for instance, this challenge is called Powered Down. There are no inventory power-ups. So essentially what the challenges do is they're little files that inject some of the scripting into the game when you load the level. You know, like ordinarily, it'll load a miss file, and then after that, it will, if you put code in the myth file at the end, it can run that code. Well, what challenges allow you to do is put that code in a separate file, so it'll load both files at once, and as a result, we get these cool challenges where, say, right now, I have to beat this level without any inventory power because they're simply missing. That did not work as well as I had planned. There is still a power-up doubler, amusingly enough, although it's completely useless. But yeah, there are actually a few challenges for this one. Matan came up with this challenge. No jumping, no power-ups of any kind, and no moving platforms. Or is that just no inventory power-ups? Yeah, it's no inventory, because the gravity modifiers are still there. And you need to get gold tag. Currently there are challenges in all of the beginner levels. I'm planning on having them in all intermediate and advanced levels as well, but that's still very much a work in progress. So like, for instance, on Pitfalls, here we have this one called Pitfall Problem, where it's a bit hard to tell at first what's been modified until you start actually rolling, at which point you notice that effectively the entire level is now space friction. It's not really all that challenging, but, the challenges themselves have a difficulty curve. Some of them are really easy, some of them are really hard. Let me give you an example of a bit of a harder one. If I go to Advanced, ignore that, you didn't see that quite yet. Another interesting feature is, right now you can actually, on the menu, on the level select, type a number, and it will go to that number. So if I want to go to, say, level 35, I just type 35, and here we are, it's pipe dreams. Right now, I'm looking for Trapdoor Madness. I don't remember what level number that is, and, unfortunately, unlike MBP, there's not exactly a search feature. Okay, it's 16. I might have been able to guess that. Interestingly enough, 16 is also 1/4 the number of trapdoors. Anyway, so Trapdoor Insanity is the challenge for this one, and when we start this challenge, notice that in the upper left, the gem counter is now a trapdoor counter. And so the goal is to hit all of the trapdoors. The tricky part is that they don't reset until you restart the level. So the tricky part of this challenge is sort of trying to do pathfinding and find, like, a way to go over all the trapdoors without having to double back and, like, jump around in crazy ways to get to trapdoors that are, like, don't leave one trapdoor over here and then all the rest are over here, because then you'll have an issue getting across. I sure hope you can see my in-game cursor, because if not, you'll have no idea what I just meant. I can see Yuo is still hard at work on that level. Meanwhile, one challenge that I like in particular is the Waves Challenge. Oh, you can see the mouse cursor. Great. The Waves Challenge, Sailing the High Seas. In this challenge, as you can see, we're a little seasick. Now, what I really like about the concept of challenges is, the game has all kinds of support for custom challenges. You can make your own challenges, and the great thing about that is, in comparison with, say, a full-fledged Miss mod, or even, like, a new script, challenges are really simple to code. Like, if you know the math to make the gravity, well, not to make the gravity move, but if you know the math to calculate which direction the gravity should point in at any given time, then this challenge is actually really easy to code. And even if you don't, there are a lot of challenges that are really easy to code. Like, say, green gauntlets. You are not allowed to touch the green grid texture. With the codes I've introduced, the functions I've introduced to make challenge creation easier, this challenge is literally like 4 or 5 lines of code. And out of those 4 or 5, 2 or 3 of those lines are just knowing how to make functions. And that's something that really any TorqueScript programmer should know. So if you're experienced in, like, level building and you want to try to get some coding experience, but you don't have any actual coding experience, you can try coding a few challenges here and there. Open up the challenge files, see what they do. My hope is that this will encourage a lot of... I suck at this challenge, by the way. This will encourage a lot of... Sometimes I just lose my train of thought. My hope is that this will encourage a lot of newer people in the community to get interested in TorqueScript coding and what it can do in the game. Because, as you'll see a bit later on, when I show you the sandbox levels, it can do a lot. Go for the green, go for the yellow. This is a fun challenge. You can only touch yellow, so you basically have to, like, jump across these walls. If you touch anything else, you're instantly out of bounds. Now, I should also show you something else that's new, and that is that I am planning on adding more levels to the intermediate and advanced categories of the game. Here's one. It's called Upstairs and Downstairs. Now, the level numbering is definitely subject to change. In fact, I'm going to need help with that, and I will say more about that at the end of the stream. So here you can go up and down the stairs. And these stairs, I love these. Believe it or not, this is actually a tool in Torque Constructor making stairs that look like this. Now, the only issue is, for one thing, each staircase here has 16 steps. They used to be 32. That did not work with Map to Diff. Map to Diff saw all of those steps, was like, heck no! I'm not converting that. Notice that I actually have an invisible flooring, an invisible ramp on the stairs, so that you don't actually have to jump up, you can just roll smoothly. That is coalmesh.dts, if you're wondering. And yes, I did actually place individual coal meshes on every staircase, although I did it with some clever console code to do the math for me. The other thing about this level is each staircase is actually a separate interior. I tried having the level as one interior. Constructor was starting to lag because it was literally thousands of brushes. Now, the thing about this is that, in practice, this level has, I want to say it's like 58 interiors in it. And as far as the 512 interior limit goes, that should be a huge issue. Fortunately, there are a couple of things to that and that are helpful. One is that, although I don't know for sure, I believe from testing that something I changed in the way the game runs removed the 512 limit, or, bypassed it, or at least, for a while, because I coded it to count how many interiors it was loading, and I had gotten well past 1,000 without the game crashing. However, I still don't know if the bug is completely fixed. For that purpose, you'll also notice that your preferences file, including your best times and all your save data, is saved now every time you leave a level, instead of just when you quit the game. That way, if your game crashes, you don't lose all of your progress. Only if you were, like, in the middle of a run. I'm not sure if it's saved after every run, or if when you hit the replay button from endgame, and then it crashes, you might lose that previous run. Regardless, I'm confident that people will be okay with the new system of, saving more often. I mean, who doesn't like it when you save your files more often? That's generally a good practice. I'm actually surprised that the Garage Games developers didn't put that in the game to begin with. It takes a lot of faith in the stability of your code to not save your data until you quit the game, and that faith in the stability of code that if the developers had it, no offense, but it was probably ill-founded based on what I know about this game. Oh, here's the 6th gem. It was right behind me. So, you know, this is it's simple, it's kind of just a maze. Looks kind of cool, you go around, get the gems, and then double super jump all the way to the finish. Boom, you're done. This is another fun level. This level is called Applied Torque, and if you can't tell why, the level is the Torque logo. Now, Matan doesn't like this level because it's been done before, having a level shaped like the Torque logo, and honestly, I don't, pardon my French, I don't give a crap, because, really, I mean, you know, in the context of levels, it's really hard to be creative nowadays, right? Or as it is with any art form that people do for a long time. And I really like my take on it. I know I'm biased, and that sounded really narcissistic, but you get what I mean. So it's just simple, go around, find all the gems, and be stupid and fall out of bounds. So yeah. Then here, let me show you some of the new advanced levels. Grander Finale will still be the sort of end of the game, but these other levels need to be sorted in there somewhere. This level is an interesting one. It's called Durer's Bane. That's a pun that you'll only get if you're familiar with both famous artists and Lord of the Rings. So I understand that not all of my references cater to the largest audience. You'll find references to all kinds of things in this game, actually. Everything from Legend of Zelda to The Matrix. So anyway, in this level the gems have been moved, and the infuriating part is that you can't wall hit onto them. It's the same interior as Applied Torque, same gravity modifiers, but the gems are on these areas that you don't even get to in the original level. So what you have to do is, it's kind of clever, you have to jump down there from sort of the opposite side. MF Ponzel just said please. He wants a particular reference in the game. The interesting thing is that, what the heck? If possible, I'll do it. If possible, but I might need your help because I've never actually played Amnesia. Or maybe I have, but I've just forgotten. Okay, that was a bad joke. So, yeah. This level is a bit more, skill-based. This is a fun level. This next level I'm going to show you is called Kaitan's Castle. This level was a pain in the butt from a code perspective, because I didn't originally want to have any custom code in these levels, but, then I, what's the word? Reneged? I reneged? Is that the right word? I don't know. Regardless, I decided, you know what? This level kinda needs a lava floor. So I put in a lava floor and some bonus rotating BTSs as well. Anyway, the thing about this level is it was a nightmare from the coding perspective because I found out there was a huge glitch that would happen if you put in too many lava floors, and it's really weird. I don't think it happens anymore, but what would happen is instead of the particles moving around on the lava floors themselves would move around, and it would be extremely glitchy, and sometimes you'd start the level and it would just lag terribly. like you get 3 FPS. But why am I talking about the bugs? I should just show you the level in its current form. As I mentioned before the stream started, this Japanese isn't actual Japanese characters in the game, it's just a bitmap. But yeah, Kaiten's Castle, another couple of obscure references, of course, that I wonder if anybody will get. It's basically, it's kind of reminiscent of Twisting the Night Away in its gameplay style. You need to do various challenges, and they all involve moving platforms, and they're all kind of tricky, and to this day, I don't know if Yule has been able to complete the level. No, these moving platforms are not rotating. The center is rotating but doesn't have proper collision. The moving platforms are actually just moving in a circle without rotating at all. And that's been possible for years if you use the spline interpolation. So, okay, now we're over here, and as you can see up here, there's a staircase, and you go to jump up the staircase, but after so many seconds, it retracts, and it's just a slope. And then, of course, it goes back, and you try climbing up the staircase again. I'll show you guys a little bit of a secret. You can just jump the slope. It's really easy. This challenge is actually fairly challenging. So yeah, to really do well in this level, you have to have good spin control, is the thing. All that bubbling lava down there. You actually go out of bounds before you hit the lava. It's mostly for decoration. It does have the same functionality as in Burning Crater, though. So yeah, you just have to kind of... Oh, I missed my train. There's an Astif movie reference in there somewhere. Anyway, so... And then you get this gem, and then you try to catch it again on the way back, and somehow it works! Holy crap, I did not expect to actually pull that off. And then, of course, you have to go to the finish area, where the final challenge is, and it's kind of overused in advanced levels, I guess, to have the final challenge be pistons that move up and down. But these at least are a bit more patterned than the ones that, like, Alex and Kevin would put in. Or are those only in Kevin Ryan levels, actually? You know, come to think of it, I don't know. Who made Ordeal? Is that Alex or Kevin? I don't know. Anyway, and here's the finish. I am not Yule. If you haven't noticed by now, yes, that is a skill point on the central pillar. I'm not going to reveal how to get there. There's a challenge for this level, Kaiten's Challenge. It's the same level, with the one main difference being all of the platforms move 50% faster. Yeah, fun. And then, this level is the most recent. Cirque de la Bille. I'm just going to call it Cirque de la Bille. Cirque de la Bille, until somebody corrects my French pronunciation. Because it is, Clé... No... I don't even know. Something French. Pardon my French. Anyway, so this level is fun and challenging because basically you can't really stay still the whole level. You can actually if you stop here. But the point is to kind of keep moving the whole level, follow all the platforms, and it's kind of acrobatic, and I'm convinced that if you had a marble circus, this is, if they had a marble circus, this is what you'd see there. So now you just have to jump across these, which is clearly a little bit tricky. Here, I'll show you the rough gold time route. You just kind of go straight across to here, and then you can just jump down into here right away. And you still fail. Wonderful. I'm going to take this moment to thank all of my sponsors. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Why would anybody pay me money for this? I mean, if you'd like to, that's fine. I'll accept any and all monetary donations. I won't use them for the game because this game is like zero budget, and then I will instead use them on I don't know, noodles or something. And again, I fail. So, next up, let's take a look at the sandbox levels. How about? There are a lot of cool new sandbox levels, but before I show them to you, let me just show you a couple of improvements made to past levels. First of all, in Toroidal Limbo. Now, you'll know this level differently depending on which version of the game you play. If you're on Mac, you know this as the level that crashes the game half the time. If you're on Windows, you just know this as the really cool but glitchy-looking wrapping level. Anyway, I mentioned at some point how there's a glitch in this level. Not mentioned in the stream, I mean I've mentioned it on the forums before. There used to be a glitch in this level where after a certain amount of time the gems would just sort of bounce up and down, and it looked really weird eventually, but fortunately I can happily report that, as you can see, this glitch has been fixed. It turns out, although it is an engine glitch, it's based on one of the parameters that I was providing when creating the gems. So, fixed. Yeah, that little glitch is still present, where it flashes when you go over the center. Although, actually, I think it's not as bad as it used to be. In any case, you should notice that the clone marbles over there are updating much more smoothly. You used to be able to see the individual frames. Oh, crap. So yes. Next up, Burning Crater. Numerous improvements. In particular involving the airplanes in this level. Although I guess you could say the lava's also been improved because I had to fix it for Kaitan's Castle. Kaitan's Castle also, for the record, just to clarify, has nothing to do with exoskeletons of insects. Anyway, so now you'll notice that the plane isn't like shaking constantly. This is due to one simple change. I'm using the plane's server connection object rather than its client connection object. That actually makes a huge difference because of the way Marble Blast needs to sync the objects back and forth. Eliminate half of that, eliminate that entire process and cut the middleman, and it works a lot more smoothly. Which is sort of just a general rule of life, isn't it? Cut the middleman and things run smoothly? I don't know. Anyway, also, if you bump into something, you'll notice the explosion now has actual particle effects. That is cool. There was a glitch where the plane explosion or crashing sound wouldn't play all of the time. That has been fixed. There was a glitch where if you had your camera tilted away from the lava, it wouldn't play the lava hissing noise or have the particles, and that has been fixed. So, wonderful things have been fixed about this level, and it, in general, just looks a lot nicer, I've discovered. There was also a sort of glitch, although I just thought of it as kind of a fun little thing you can do, where if you got into a plane, because it puts you in the plane instantly, you could then immediately nosedive by swiping the camera down, and you would crash, immediately get in the plane again because it would respawn, crash, immediately get in the plane again, and you could crash like 5 or 6 times in 1 second. It looked hilarious until it crashed the game for me once. So now, when you crash the new plane takes a second to fade back in. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you'll notice a change in getting used to the water. That is fish. Now, interesting thing about these fish. These fish were originally in my now long dead or, well, comatose, and I've basically taken off the life support at this point. Project Dragon? The fish were in Project Dragon, and I basically plunked them into MBPU, because why not? It's fish. Now, it might take me a while to show you this, depending on how good my aim is, because it's always crappy in this level. Pardon my French. But, oh, so close. If you hit a fish, there's an extra little bonus, as sort of an homage, pardon my French, to Project Dragon, where the fish exploded. These fish also explode when you touch them. So don't touch the fish, kids. Next up, let's show you some of the new levels. The first exciting one is Slendernado. Now, I've had the idea for a long time to basically re-implement some well-known game as a mismod, or, sandbox level. Yeah, that's another thing. All of the new sandbox levels are mostly or entirely mismod code. So if you, so all of the code can be found in that level. I didn't have to modify the default game scripts. Regardless, Slendernado, originally my idea was to implement sort of a Marble Blast Don't Starve. I decided that would be really weird. So Slendernado is Slender, except you're running from a tornado. The level also sounds really crazy. Just this creepy ambience, and you'll notice I am using that rock DTS from a lot of old custom levels. I did eventually update the texture, because the old one I felt was low quality and, well, I mean, poorly made, and not very MBG-like in style. So that is fixed. That little piano chord you just heard was an effect that I added. If you look towards where Slendernado is, it will play a scary sound effect. I can't see him at the moment. This level is actually really dark. So what I'm going to do is use a little bit of console hacking. Oh, there he is. I didn't even have to type the code. He just showed up. So, yeah, I should have warned you to turn down your headphones. I'll do that right now. Okay, so, I apologize to any of you who are deaf. Unfortunately, you can't hear my apology. So yeah, if you're playing with controller vibration, you'll also be able to feel your controller vibrate more as he gets closer and closer. He will move faster to you, faster towards you when you are looking away. This level is actually really hard to finish, on time without getting caught. But it's possible and it's fun. So try it out. Don't do what I did, which is I tested this level at about 1 in the morning with the lights off and my sound all the way up. I jumped at seeing the scary face picture that I made and hearing the sound that I edited. It was hilarious. Hi Guy was in a Skype call with me at the moment. Fun little moments. Yes. So that's Slendernado. Also, I should do Ewell a favor and mention what he did in this level. If I can find it, yes. This part of the level is this little grassy field, and here's a truck. Ewell completely made this truck as a DTS in Constructor, nonetheless, and it looks great. It has the best little thing on the front. But yeah, great level in my opinion. Another level that uses like 50 interior files. But yeah. Next up, Marble Chambers. I love this level. The great thing is, Hi Guy made this level. I didn't actually give myself any credit for it. It was basically all Hi Guy. I did make a couple of codes to help out with it, though. One of which actually was a code to, given a three-dimensional point in space, this code returns the two-dimensional point on your screen where it's located. So, say if it's like, oh, this point here, where does that show up on your screen? And as a little bit of a fun tidbit, that was the code later used in MBP 1.50, as you will, as you have seen in the recent update, to make the marble icons appear, or the gem icons rather, appear on the gems in multiplayer. So, fun fact. I myself think this is possibly the second most impressive level in the game, if not the most impressive. As a programmer, I would still count it as second. Maybe if you're very much just a player and you don't care about the code behind things, you would consider it first. In any case, this level takes a little while to load. Totally worth it.
Ready, set.
And here we are. If you've played the game Antechamber, this level is about to look really familiar to you. So, we start off with this little dead end, you roll around the corner. You have all these deep philosophical messages. A choice can be as simple as going left or going right. Now, I'm going to give you guys some time in the chat to specify. Should I go left or right? Do a little audience participation here. As far as, if you're going to say that this mod is the best one ever made, actually, I really shouldn't do majority of first 10, should I? Alright, so one person has voted right, one has voted left. The next person to answer will determine which way I go. Of course, if you've played Antechamber, you know that in the end it doesn't really matter. But still, I want to keep my audience engaged. As I was saying, if you think this mod is the best one ever made, you need to at least give 1.50 and PQ some credit, because, for one thing, 1.50 has multiplayer, and if you think all of this code is impressive, multiplayer is way more impressive than anything I've been doing. I mean, vector math gets complicated. multiplayer gets more complicated. And some of us are good at different things, you know. I would say that in general, like, the mathematics of three-dimensional space might be my forte as far as coding goes. If so, then networking is my piano. And speaking of which, my piano. Just kidding. So, in any case, that and PQ had a bunch of interesting features before MBPU did. I mean, I like the look of MBPU better as well, but that's just because it's MBG's look, and it's not hard to stick to MBG's look because it's simple. Yeah, if you don't care much for multiplayer, MBPU is the best hands down, right? In any case, well, we have one person saying right, one person saying left, and one person saying forward. Thank you, Yule. That's very helpful. So, I guess compromise! Unfortunately, this isn't King's Cross Station, so nothing happened. I'm going to now roll a die, and if it comes up odd, I'll go left, even I'll go right, because otherwise this stream is going to take like an hour before I go anywhere. Came up even, I'm heading right. Choice can be as simple as going, what? Okay, so now I have to make a choice. Do I want to go left or right? You know, I'm going to let you guys decide. Post in the chat whether I should go left or right, and let me know. You will do majority of the first 3 votes. I'm kidding, of course. Clearly going right isn't the correct option. Let's go left. The choice doesn't matter if the outcome is the same. What? Alright. If you've played Antechamber, you're like waiting for me to get on to the good stuff. So, let me just briefly explain this puzzle. Okay, there are actually 3 ways I can go from this location. I could go left and right, but what happens if I try to go back? And you would eventually think of that with, you know, in theory, playing this game, you'd realize, well, wait a minute. Like, what happens if I go back? Does it keep track of which ways I've gone? And so you go backwards just to see what happens. And when you return to where you have been, things aren't always as remembered. There's a green pathway. And you go into the green pathway, and it becomes red, then blue, then yellow, then, you know, purple, and it loops around on itself. And if you think this must have been really hard to code in the game, you're right. This level was, at first, horrendously glitchy in some areas. You would, for instance, restart the level, play through it, get to one point, and the entire section would just be disconnected, like shifted 2 squares to the right. But fortunately, it seems to be running really well right now. Some choices leave us running around a lot without really getting anywhere. But in this case, we got somewhere. Slow. Okay, this chasm says slow. So I know exactly what I need to do. Ah!
Ready, set, go.
Clearly that was not the right option. So, yeah, Naya had, holy freaking crap does definitely describe my first reaction to this level. The fact that you could actually do this in Marble Blast's engine. So anyway, yeah, fun fact. You don't actually have to go down either path. You just have to go over there and back. And boom. So, around the bend, and forward. Alright. Maybe we should actually listen to authority here and go slowly. Aha, and you see this little bridge appears below us. You also can't jump. If you go too quickly, and the threshold is incredibly low, or if you jump, you fall into the pit and die. But we're smart, so we get across to the other side. Or not. That's also a coal mesh ramp, if you didn't notice. Moving through a problem slower may help find the solution. That can totally be true in life. You know, the quotes from that game are so deep. And all of these are verbatim from the game. Trust me, I checked and corrected them because a couple of them weren't. Emma Ponzal is going to poop himself. And here... Okay, so now we have... Red is where we came from, so we don't want to go there. We have blue and green. Again, I'm going to leave this up to votes. That's 2 out of 3. While we're waiting on the results of that vote, I should point out that... Okay, we got blue. Never mind. I hadn't actually thought of what I was going to point out. Let's go down the blue path. And, okay. So now we've got a red path, a blue... Wait. Hold on. You mean to tell me that if I go here, and then just turn around, it's green! And yes, you can just completely go in a circle like this. Now, if you're the kind of person who's trying to break the game and you see that, you're like, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on the blue exits. Now I'm just gonna move around here and... Surprise! I mean, look how seamless this is. Again, the credit for this goes to High Guy. He's the one who figured out how to do this and make it look awesome. And I give him a lot of credit because there was a lot of carefully aligning triggers involved and building multiple copies of the level and then trying to get it to export. So you enter the green section and all of a sudden it's a maze and we've got plenty of green sections. Oh no, now we're back where we started. And of course it doesn't save your progress or anything, so, you know, you look away and you're back to the start. So yeah, this is the correct path. How big is the file size? That's a great question. Let me actually check on that really quickly. Meanwhile, while I check on that, never stop trying, you will get there eventually. You've got another choice to make. Left or right, guys? Fun fact, originally going down the left path glitched the level up, but I never noticed because I always went down the right. Yeah, and if you're commenting on how the music works really well with this map, thank you. I actually created this music in FL Studio to try to fit the general theme of, like, you know, the general feeling of antechamber music, and it was, you know, given that I don't actually have antechamber and I've never actually played it myself, I've just watched people play it, I'd say I did pretty well. Although, you know, going back and listening to the music from the original game, I always think, you know, I don't know. But anyway, to answer your question on how big the file size is, the interior folder for it, there's a separate subfolder, is about 14 megs, and that includes interiors and textures. and the mission file is 85 kilobytes, which actually, oh no, I was looking at the screenshot. 85 kilobytes is a lot. For comparison, one of the next levels I'll show you involved a lot of complicated code. It's only 41 kilobytes. Slender NATO is 92, actually. Wow! Slender NATO is a larger file size. Huh. I did not realize that. Of course, Slender NATO also has all the sound effects with it, and those are into the megs because Wave. But, there's no clear answer as far as left or right, so I'm going to leave it to a roll of the dice. I'm going to roll a d20 this time. I can find one in here. Here we go. And, odd means left, even means right. And it comes up odd. We're going left. So we go left, and it's spiraling around. Is it just me or... There's a slight theme here. I've never noticed that before, but... Wow. That actually looks kind of cool. I'm not going to worry about it. So, some choices can leave us running around in circles. Yeah, no kidding. Seems like this has gone around more than a full circle already. Although, hang on. You take a look at the center here. Is it just me or... Yeah, the whole thing's shrinking. It's a spiral. We're spiraling inwards. And I'm seeing a lot of seams I'm not supposed to be seeing, but... Regardless, I'm sure you'll agree with me that it doesn't really detract from the quality of the level. And here we go. Raw persistence may be the only option other than giving up entirely. Now, if you're an antechamber player, you'll laugh when you see this next part. If not, you'll kind of not get the joke. Oh, look, it's the menus. In Antechamber, the options and the level select and stuff is a part of a room, and, you know, you sort of go around and do stuff. Yeah. So let's go out the exit. You knew that was going to happen if you had played the original game, but regardless, the actual exit is this way. It's kind of weird. It's like, oh no, that's not the exit. Oh, this is. And every journey comes to an end. So here's the good old finish pad. Okay, let's take a look at another awesome level. This next level is actually the most recent sandbox level to be completed. You will help me a lot on this one. He pretty much mapped out the entire level. So, yeah, let's go skateboarding, or marbling. So this is gameplay style similar to the Tony Hawk games, Skate 3, etc. You do tricks and get points. You'll notice that this has the special tricks from the special tricks level in it, or special jumps rather. You can bounce jump. And MF Ponzal is wondering how there could possibly be an axe to follow Marble Chambers. And I agree Marble Chambers is impressive. There is one sandbox level that I think might actually be more impressive. Did you hear that? I just completely broke the sound. The music just stopped. You know that can glitch up the sound kind of badly, and so what I'm actually going to do is really quick reopen the game.
Ready.
Okay, so now then, here's the game, and
Go.
now we are in Marble Park. So, you know, you can do tricks off this ramp, but you have to watch out for the mines. You do get points if you get close to them, but if you actually hit them, it ruins your combo. And combos are important because there's a multiplier, if you haven't noticed. Also, yeah, PQ has those, doesn't it? I mean, I know that, but yes, I've got some more gems. Some gems that move. You get points for getting gems. 10,000 for red, 20,000 for yellow, 50,000 for blue. Total ripoff of MBU's scoring system, and they respawn so that you can get them again. If you saw the little blue trick I did earlier, you get bonus points for doing certain things like loop the loop. That's just a trigger, and it gives you points based on doing the trigger. Or like, if you get up here, you get points for on the rafters. So yeah, you can rack up some pretty insane combos. To qualify, you need to get a score of at least 100,000, which I'm nowhere near. Oh, yeah, and that's actually a huge problem, because if you go out of bounds, it's a 50,000 point penalty. So, yeah, I'm not doing so well as far as actually satisfying the level requirements is concerned. But yeah, now let's go downstairs, because there's actually a downstairs to this level, but my time is about to run out. So first, I will show you what it looks like when you run out of time. 4, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, did you see that? That last combo was over 100,000, so I qualified. And I landed it at the last second. That's actually impressive. Don't ask me how Yule got 6.7 million. As you can see, my best is about 3.8 million. There are techniques you can use to just rack up huge scores, but not that huge. He tells me, he's like, no, I'm just doing the same thing that you're doing. I'm like, well, yeah, but you're getting a lot more points doing it. So yeah, gold score is 1 million, though, and that's not too bad. But there is an entire lower floor to this level. There's also a skill point, but that's the secret. So let's go down the spiral ramp here that it took forever to get to convert properly, apparently. And yeah, down here you've got these, you know, sort of bumps you have to hit to get those gems. Or, you know, just bounce jump. Well, or not. You've got this little area where you have to slide around into space and get the gems, but the mines are moving just as quickly. You got both the gems anyway, and you can jump over here. Now here's a little sign that says down. What the heck does it mean by that? I'll come back to that in a second. First of all, there's this thing here that looks like a wicker basket, and there's a trick for looping around in it. Wicker man. I'm a police officer, and I'm here to find my daughter who's being sacrificed by a savage tribe of natives. Anyway, so here's this sign pointing down. What the heck is that about? Whoa! Yeah, you know those fake platforms from level 18? They're back. So yes, next up is Marble Core. Now, I think this level is pretty cool because when I made the lava level, Burning Crater, I basically demonstrated that it's possible to have you, instead of controlling the marble using mismodding and, you know, otherwise modding, have you just control something completely different. Marble Core is similar, a similar concept, but in this case, instead of a little airplane, we're in a frickin' tank. If you haven't noticed yet, the level music in the previous level and this level are both remixes of classic Vibe. Respectively, I think they're called Wooden Vibe and Military Vibe. You'll notice the same is true of Super Marble Galaxy Sandbox Level 9 that has Space Vibe in it. But anyway, so here's this tank. Those are just my weird controls. It won't be for DSF for everybody. It'll be whatever your movement controls are. You get in the tank and, you know, use camera to move the turret, and then you frickin' drive a tank. So now that we're in the tank, let's shoot some stuff. So as you can see, we're shooting targets, and in the upper left we've got a counter of how many targets we have to hit. If you ever played the old PS1 Spyro games, this could totally be a challenge on one of those, couldn't it? You know, you're just in the tank, you have to shoot all of them, like a time limit. You can also shoot these boards. You might recognize these boards if you ever did anything for Project Dragon. So they move as well. That's using the moving objects code. Uh-oh, I think MF Pones all just got Ganon banned. Ganon banned, for those who are unfamiliar, is a term originating in The Legend of Zelda. Being Ganon banned means getting banned or otherwise disrespected for spelling Ganon, the name of the antagonist, with two N's in the middle. You cannot shoot the X and get credit for it. You have to shoot the target side. The other thing I love about this level is how everything moves in sync with the music. It's not perfect, like if you hit escape. Well, I just removed my HUD because, yeah, that's a little bit glitched, but I will fix that. Anyway, if you hit escape, it kind of ruins it because it pauses the things but not the music. But anyway, no worries. So that's that. There's going to be a skill point in this level that's pending. Anyway, we finished. Is there not a finish sign? Oh, that's an issue. There needs to be a finish sign. I'll add one. Now there's one more sandbox level. What the heck? Oh, I opened the wrong copy of the game. Technical difficulties, please hold. I apologize for accidentally leaking that. Forget that you saw that, because the last level is classified. It's top secret, and you'll only be able to see it in the final release. That being said, it is perhaps the most impressive / revolutionary of all of them. Oh, I've received word from Ewell that his level is finished. So, I assume it's still in custom, Ewell. If so, I will reboot the game to play that now. But the other copy, since it's only on that copy. Let's get that awesome music back. So, what Ewell has been working on is remaking the apartment from the classic... hold on. It's set to his configuration file. From the classic sitcom Friends...
Ready, set, go!
in MBPU. So, here you are. You have to go around, find the gems. Can you still jump through here? No. Nicole messed that up. So, I recommended that he, I approved his idea for this level mainly because I really just wanted to, showcase Ewell's level building skills. They're, how are you supposed to, wall hit? Anyway, he is perhaps, he has perhaps created, the most impressive diff files I've seen. This needs to be fixed. A little bit here. So Ewell will, possibly move the TV slightly to the left in the final version of this level, so that you can actually get out of there. So, no worries. But, I mean, look at those rounded corners. If you ask me, it's a miracle that any of his levels convert. Fortunately, I've been working with Hi Guy to create a program. It's currently Mac only, but we may be able to eventually port it to Windows, depending on whether we feel like it. A program to, if your map doesn't convert, split it automatically into smaller maps, and then convert each of those. I used that, for instance, on Cirque de la Ville, and it works really well. It went from a level that had issues even if you converted it in MapDiff Plus to I couldn't see any issues. Although I can actually see a few missing polygons on the sync here, Liam. Oh, shoot. Ewell, that is. Forget that I accidentally slipped Ewell's name. It could be his name, or it might not be. He's actually a top secret undercover spy for Scotland, and his real name is classified. But I believe from some of my sources that it is possibly Alfredo Pagliacci, and he's actually Italian. Actually, come to think of it, without knowing it, I just kind of gave out a preview for... Oh, never mind. So Alfredo has been doing great work on this level, and I'm still searching for... Oh! I thought there might be one under the bed. Oh ho ho! So anyway, I would say that this is some of Alfredo's greatest work. And do I really need to wall hit off of that, rafter beam? Alfredo. Nice! Just noticed the time on the stove. How the frack do I get up there? Oh, do you have to edge hit off of the... Yeah, suddenly this has become a blind let's play of his level. Oh no, what you do is you wall hit onto the fridge, or you do something on the fridge. A little guidance would actually be helpful here. Yeah, but anyway. Oh no, you don't go onto the fridge, you go directly onto the... That's right. So yeah, anyway, I'm really impressed with Alfredo's work. Both in this level and in the other levels he's helped me with. I don't even get how it's hot. Oh! Or wait, no, he's talking about getting onto the fridge. But yeah, how is it possible to get to that gem up there? This is like a hardcore, like, find the way level. So yes, Alfredo Pagliacci is also coming out with his own Boy Wizard book series, starring himself. And he's now telling me that he's not actually sure if it's possible to get that gem. That indicates that we have very high standards of quality testing over here at Whirly Geek Studios. We make sure that all of our levels have been thoroughly tested before we show them to the public. But but apparently this one somehow got through our incredibly rigorous standards. Oh, God, I was hoping there wouldn't be one in the toilets. It's like, you know. Also, I'm pretty sure the door isn't supposed to embed itself in the wall of your bathtub. Pretty sure if that happens in your actual house, you should, like, you know, call a repairman, like, immediately. Yeah, the issue is that if you jump... Oh, no, I'm in the John. If you jump from one shelf to the other, you kind of... It's too much distance and too little height. That's the issue. No, ceiling height. Yeah. But hey! Fortunately, we could pick up a new ceiling. They make... there's this store. They make ceilings for parking garages, and I hear they're having a clearance sale. Okay, that was a terrible pun. So, you want some PQ for dinner? So, Yule is taking a special bath. Meanwhile, I say let's leave this level for the moment. That's about all I want to say at the moment. I've told you that the installer will be new. In any case, here's so now oh, MF Ponzel completely forgot. I thought like you had left and come. No, you've been here the whole time. Wow. Okay. Anyway, that's all I have to say at the moment. But as I never actually said on the forums when I meant to, there is a Q&A session at the end of the video, at the end of the stream, and that Q&A starts now. Ask whatever question you want. I will give you any, I will give you a true, honest answer. I might not tell you things that I don't want to tell you, but, you know, as long as we don't talk about Sandbox Level 25, it's, you know, it's cool. Oh! Actually, one thing I should mention is how some of these features were made possible. In particular, vibration support was made possible if it actually worked properly. I'll get to your question in a quick second, because there's actually something else I was going to mention. MBPU 1.5 is doing something a bit revolutionary / experimental. Just how MBPU 1.5 has its engine plugins, you know, engine mods, MBPU 1.5 is going to have these console. There's actually another thing I want to talk about. Okay, MF Phones, I'll get to your question in a minute. Actually, let me answer it right now, because you have to go soon, don't you? As far as UI, the user interface right now is pretty much finalized. There are a couple of small things I want to mess with a bit, like challenges, for instance. I would like to have a difficulty rating and some sort of best time for each challenge. So, and obviously this UI will change a bit accordingly, but apart from that, I think what you see is what you get, really. Unless you have any suggestions, I'm definitely open to those. Anyway, plugins. So the plugin system in MBPU works differently from MBPU 1.50. It's much simpler in the sense that the code for it isn't as involved or advanced. Instead of running plugins as, actually modifying the engine executable, how the plugins work is I add the ability to the game to run other executables. And let me actually demonstrate that by going into the console, which isn't opening because sometimes it doesn't. And let me type execute and marble plugins echo app.cs. And you see, as a result, we get this dialog box that says this is a test. So what's happening here is Marble Blast is using actually a plugin, believe it or not, although it's sort of the launching program. It's not a launcher in the sense that it has a GUI, but you run an external program that adds this functionality. What's happening is, from Marble Blast, it runs an Echo app executable. Then Echo app will be able to send messages via TCP to the game and back. And this allows, external applications to interface with Marble Blast and add additional functionality, for instance, controller vibration. Now, the key here is, so what the Echo app does is you run it, it starts an application that sends the message "this is a test" back, and Marble Blast has a callback function that then prints the message out to a dialog box. Now, a couple things I should mention on this. Number one, the plugin system will not at all be essential to the game. Meaning that you only miss out on, like, a couple of small features if your plugins aren't working properly. Which is good, which is how I want it. Because there have been reports that, like, the whole system is experimental, so I don't know how well it's going to work. There have been reports that the certain antivirus programs don't really like it, so you have to whitelist Marble Blast as an exception, and some people don't like doing that because it means, in theory, making your computer more vulnerable. And that theory is kind of true. If you download a plugin from someone else, I can't guarantee that it won't, execute some program that ruins your computer. I obviously can guarantee you that none of the plugins included with MBPU will do that. So you're at least safe offline. The plugin system is... the other thing I was going to say about it, if I can remember that... Oh, yes. Well, I said that, but the other important thing to remember about the plugin system is that, like I said, it's not essential. So if you have trouble installing it, or if you can't get it to run, it bugs you with a dialogue that you have to answer no to the first time you run it. Regardless, it's a feature. It's like a bonus feature. It's not an essential part of the mod. Now, we are going to go to Q&A, but before we do so, let me just say something. I am going... well, that's great timing. I'm going to need your help with this mod. By I am going to need your help, what I'm saying is I am calling specifically level builders and level testers. If you, or someone you know in the Marble Blast community, knows how to build levels in the MBG style, or would like to test levels to, verify difficulty levels, any glitches they find, any, any other issues, whether the gold time is about at a good difficulty level, you get the idea. Making sure all the challenges are even possible. If you know somebody who would be willing to do that, or if you would be willing to do that, PM me and, or post on the forums, or email me, or, anything like that. As far as credit, you can be credited however you want to be, within reason. You could be not credited if you want. There is actually an option for a level to make the author anonymous. In any case, you could use a fake name. In any case, hit me up somehow, and we'll work things out. I'll put a much more detailed post in the Marble Blast forum thread about this pretty soon. That's going to explain exactly what I'm looking for as far as levels go. Because there are actually some specific criteria, so don't get started building levels just yet. I will guarantee you that if you help me out with either of those, you will be credited in a cool way that is going to be a little bit of a secret, but once you see it, it's going to be cool. Okay. Now that I've announced all of that, I have no official release date in mind yet, before anyone asks. Basically, it's done when it's done, and I have a set of goals right now. I have a to-do list on things that still need to be done. If you ask me to give an estimate, I would say it's probably anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, depending on how quickly the levels come in from other level builders and how quickly the testers can do their work. So, on top of that, I'm going to be leaving for school in a couple of weeks, and I have, a couple other big events coming up, and I have no idea exactly how busy I'm going to be in the coming months. I do have some idea because, I have been there before, but at the same time, especially for other level builders, I understand that basically once the summer ends, development of any Marble Blast project tends to grind to a halt. Now I am open for questions. If anybody has a question, ask it. Again, ask whatever you want. Doesn't necessarily need to be about MBPU. It can be, heck, ask me what my favorite color is. It's like FFCC00, so there you go. Really. Meanwhile, while you ask questions, I'll play through a couple of these levels some more.
Ready, set.
And I'll turn my sound down. Should play like some elevator music while I'm waiting for questions. Dun, 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 dun. Someone would like to let. What's my second favorite color? Ooh. So, in case you didn't get the hexadecimal color code, that was sort of orangish yellow. As far as my second favorite color goes, if we're talking about broad color groups like yellow and stuff, because otherwise FFCB00. But my second favorite color is probably it's either red or orange. Um, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your favorite color of the alphabet? I would say I'm about a 6 on that one. Oh wait, no. Actually, it's a yes or no question, isn't it? Maybe. Uh, PQ where? Um, not not here, but a lot of the features from PQ are here. So there's that. My favorite color is a light beige. Oh, that's not a question. But yeah, it's interesting how and the great part is, apart from possibly moving objects, I didn't really take inspiration from PQ for like many, if any, of the features in MBPU. Um, there are some features that we both ended up having that's partly a coincidence. My favorite game of all time ever. That is a really hard question to answer. Um, I would say if you're making me pick one, um, I would say you'd have to look at it empirically as far as which game I've logged the most hours in, and I think that's actually Marble Blast. MBG, MBPU, I think I've actually played the most, come to think of it, because there are a lot of CS classes, computer science classes I've taken, where like I found that I can pay attention to the professor and play MBPU on my screen at the same time, just to you know keep my hands doing something, because I fidget a lot. So So yeah, I mean, if I have to pick one off the top of my head, I'd say Marble Blast. But there are definitely a lot of other really great games I've played. I've played a lot of indie games personally. Um, okay. What's your favorite franchise established on a Nintendo system? Hands down, Legend of Zelda. Is that even a question? Um, well, I mean, it is because sales-wise, more people like Mario, and I don't know. I've always been more of a fantasy, like hardcore fantasy kind of guy as far as that goes. Do you know I've actually written a Zelda fan fiction? I wrote it when I was like, it was like 4 years ago, so it's not my best writing. Um, Portal's good. Don't get me wrong. Portal has a lot of innovative stuff in it, and as a puzzle game, it's great. But I just don't keep coming back to it the same way I keep coming back to Marble Blast. What is my favorite smell? Ooh, that's actually a really good question. You know, it's weird because I feel like I have one, but I don't remember what it is. Um, I mean, obviously, plenty of the stereotypical good ones. You've got bacon. You've got like chocolate. Um, it's interesting. One of my favorite smells, I don't quite know. how to one of my favorite smells. I don't quite know how to characterize it, but I really like every so often I'll catch a whiff of this, and I don't know what it is, but it reminds me of the smell of like when you're like backstage in the like auditorium of my high school, because I did a lot of like musicals and stuff there, and it just brings back like memories and nostalgia and stuff. Um, my favorite Zelda game. Um, well, oh yeah, here we go. Wow, I beat the level. Nice. Let's play this one. My favorite Zelda game is probably I don't know. I really like Ocarina of Time. It's like one of the best games of all time, really. It'd definitely be on like my top 5 video games in general list. Um, oh, is the audio cutting out? Hmm. Hold on. Um, oh, it's just Yule's internet. Okay. Sorry, Alfredo. But that's your issue. Uh, you can watch the stream afterwards for a limited amount of time until I have to take it down because Twitch. Um, well, I think what MF is saying is that he's not getting the problem. So, um, in any case, what was I even saying? Oh yes, Zelda. Ocarina is amazing. Especially given that it was their first attempt at a 3D Zelda. Yeah, I know you can download the stream file and put it onto YouTube, but I actually have to get my YouTube channel organized in order to do that. Um, well, internet connections tend to vary, Yule, so I don't know what to tell you. In any case, that's Zelda Ocarina. Majora's Mask, I've played almost completely through. The game sort of creeped me out so much that I was like, well, it wasn't that I was too scared, like creeped out. I think it was actually just that I didn't know if I was skilled enough to do it, so I was like afraid to try. But I never actually beat the final boss of Majora's Mask. I played the entire game up to that point. It didn't help that my cartridge was really glitchy and tended to crash. And Majora's Mask is the worst possible game for that to happen on because the save system is not tolerant of that at all. Regardless, um, but yeah, I just didn't end up liking Majora's Mask as well as Ocarina for whatever reason. For one thing, I really like all the dungeon mechanics and fewer dungeons, man. But Twilight Princess was good. Um, Spirit Tracks. I played Phantom Hourglass. That was pretty good. Spirit Tracks, I really enjoyed. Um, Skyward Sword, I would have beaten for now if not for the Spirit Trials because they basically combine every part of a video game that I don't like into one challenge. And as a result, I just was like too lazy to do the third one and never finished the game. So, I mean, that's my opinion on most of the Zelda games I've played. SCP Containment Breach. It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've played it. What type of game is it? Because I don't do a lot of FPSs. Ah, it's survival horror. Yeah. I might eventually. I mean, I'm open to suggestions, but for one thing, the reason why I'm not doing tons of Let's Plays is, in case you haven't noticed, based on all this amazing code, that sounded way too narcissistic. I am really busy with MBPU. So, yeah.